Pope said. "I'm sure it's Louisville's fault." That was funny. Let's see what's new about Kentucky versus Louisville from Pope's perspective. Let's go. The Kentucky-Louisville rivalry in college basketball is one of the most intense and traditional in the United States, and this season promises to bring a new chapter to this remarkable story. With the announcement that the matchup will take place on November 11th, the earliest date ever recorded in the series, Kentucky Wildcats fans are already in a frenzy, speculating about how the team will fare in the face of such a challenging schedule. And who better to comment on this than Coach Mark Pope himself, who brought his perspective to the surface in a lighthearted but confident tone during a recent press conference. Pope, known for his leadership skills and ability to keep the group motivated, didn't hesitate to approach the subject with good humor. When asked about the choice of the unusual date, he didn't miss the opportunity to make a friendly criticism of the Cardinals, suggesting that the blame for the early game fell on Louisville. "The schedule is getting more and more complicated. I don't really know how we got to this date, but I'm sure it's Louisville's fault," Pope said, with a smile on his lips. Despite the good-natured provocation, the coach was emphatic in emphasizing his respect for the work of Pat Kelsey, the rival team's coach, demonstrating that the rivalry, although fierce, is maintained within the limits of professionalism and fair play. What draws attention to Pope's attitude is the calmness with which he faces the challenge. After all, starting the season against an opponent of Louisville's stature, especially on a date so close to the official start of the campaign, could be seen as extra pressure. However, the Kentucky coach seems to see the situation as an opportunity to test the strength of the team from the very beginning. For Pope, a challenging schedule is exactly what the team needs to prepare for the competitions that really matter. "We want to face strong opponents and tough games from the beginning. This will only help us grow as a team," he said. In addition to the matchup against Louisville, the Wildcats will have other opportunities to test themselves even before the official start of the regular season. The team will open its activities on October 24th in an exhibition game against the Purdue Boilermakers, recognized as one of the most solid programs in the college scene. This duel will serve as an important barometer to evaluate the level of competitiveness of the squad assembled by Pope for the new season. During the press conference, the coach also mentioned the possibility of adding another exhibition game to the schedule, signaling that the team's preparation will be thorough and focused on ensuring that all players are ready for the battle that awaits them. It is worth noting that the game against Louisville in November will be only the third time in history that the two teams will face each other in this month, which adds a unique element to the rivalry. Traditionally played in December or January, the State Classic takes on a new dimension when it is brought forward, and this can directly influence the dynamics of the matchup. Playing so early in the season means that both teams will be in the process of adjustments, which leaves room for surprises and unexpected moments. For Kentucky fans, this news can be seen as a unique opportunity to see their team dominate their rival early on, setting the tone for the rest of the campaign. With Mark Pope at the helm, Kentucky basketball appears to be in good hands. His balanced approach, combining humor, respect for opponents, and a competitive mindset, reflects the philosophy that has guided the program in recent years. He understands that the pressure on the Wildcats is constant, given the team's rich history and the always high expectations of the Big Blue Nation. However, instead of shying away from this responsibility, Pope embraces it, transforming it into fuel to seek positive results. The matchup against Louisville, even though it is early in the season, will carry significant weight, both emotionally and strategically. For fans, it will be a chance to measure the team's progress and feel the pulse of Pope's group. And it depends on the coach, Kentucky will be more than prepared to face any challenge that comes its way. As the November 11th date approaches, the atmosphere around Rupp Arena is starting to heat up. How exciting will the game be for you? What about the current roster? Let's take a look at what's new. While Pope is confident in the group he's already assembled, he's made it clear that there's still room for movement, especially as the regulatory landscape becomes clearer. Since the start of the offseason, Pope has been transparent about his approach. He's scouring the planet for pieces that can strengthen the team. That statement, made in April, reflects the coach's meticulous philosophy of addressing both immediate needs and investing in talent that can contribute in the future. The most recent example of that strategy was the addition of Reese Potter, a transfer from Miami, who Pope described as a Lexington Catholic legend. With his versatile skills, mobility, passing, shooting, and protecting the paint, Potter seems like exactly the type of player who could fit well into the coach's style of play. However, despite these additions, Pope remains cautious. He acknowledges that the current roster, which has 13 scholarship players, is in a solid position, but also hints at the possibility of new additions. The central issue here is the roster cap, which is currently set at 13 scholarships. This means that in order to make room for new players like Otega Owe or Jalen Lowe would have to decide to stay in the NBA draft, a scenario that analysts consider unlikely. However, that could change dramatically with the House agreement, which promises to bring more clarity to the rules governing the composition of college basketball teams. The latest proposal suggests increasing the roster cap to 15, as well as allowing previously cut players to return using their additional seasons of eligibility. This scenario could open doors for some players. While waiting for those rules to be finalized, Pope has demonstrated a remarkable ability to deal with uncertainty. In an interview with KSR, he described the process as fun, comparing it to a war game, planning for every possible scenario, and making decisions based on the information available. "You just don't know what the rules are," Pope said, noting the chaos that comes with the ever-changing college sports landscape. But far from being a source of stress, it seems to be a source of inspiration for the coach, who sees the challenge as part of the game. This adaptive mindset is a reflection of Pope's philosophy as the leader of Kentucky basketball. He understands that in an environment as dynamic as college basketball, the ability to quickly adjust strategies is crucial. Furthermore, his focus is not just on building a team for next season, but also on preparing the program for the future. Players who may not have an immediate impact are still seen as valuable investments, especially in a system that values continuous development. Pope's confidence in the current roster is evident. He expressed satisfaction with the group he has assembled thus far, highlighting the quality of the players and their ability to compete at a high level. However, his willingness to seek new opportunities shows that he is not content to simply maintain the status quo. For Pope, the goal is always to maximize the team's potential, whether through strategic transfers, internal development, or taking advantage of emerging rules. With a promising roster, a creative coach, and the possibility of new additions, the Wildcats have all the tools to make a splash next season. And how will it play out? We'll just have to wait a little longer. Comment below.